Yeah, just a little short story of our meeting. Meeting with my wife. It was what I call a setup. I visited my brother in Ajah one weekend, and because on a Sunday they went to their own church, and I decided to visit a church that is close to where they live, a Redeemed church. That was my first time in that church, and because I went in, at the end of the message, they asked people to greet their neighbors, and behold, there was a beautiful damsel sitting beside me, something I have not done for the first time. Immediately I greeted her. That textbook definition of love at first sight actually happened. And that was how the conversation started. We exchanged contacts, and from there, the rest was history. One thing I loved about her when I saw her, you can see she was beaming, very beautiful. And then, of course, on in the relationship, she's a very creative person, and someone that can learn and that is teachable. A lot of times, yes, people take actions, but you can see her telling you that the Holy Spirit told her to do this, to stop doing this. And that is how we've been able to resolve our issues, because each time we have issues, you can see somebody is learning, the Spirit told me to do this, or this teaching I heard in church actually made me know that this is not right. We can make adjustment here. So these are the things I actually love about her. And it's been 10 years, and we are still moving. And this is how we'll continue moving until we spend the rest of our lives together. I want to appreciate God for making me to meet her on that fateful day. Like I mentioned, it's a divine setup. A church I just attended for the first time, and I got my wife there at that first meeting. So it must be a setup.
I met my husband, I think June 2011, when I came to Lagos to do my chambers attachment. Yes, I was still a law student then, and I met him in church. You can imagine. I was going to my sister's church at the time, and on a Sunday morning, one Sunday morning, I was seated. Then somebody, I can still remember what he wore. He wore a red shirt and a black trousers, and he came around and sat beside me, So I noticed, I didn't really notice him when he came. So just when he now started dancing, I was like, who is this person that is dancing like this? Everybody was me. I was cool. I was still a single lady, I was still, doing my cool moves. So the guy was just dancing. You go forward, you go backwards. I was like, whatever. So after service, he asked for my number, and unlike me, I gave him my number. He wasn't really, I didn't really notice him per se. I just gave it to him as out of courtesy. So as in before we got to the house, he was already calling me, and I was like, shoo, guy, take it easy now, He called me, he laughed so hard, I was wondering, why is he laughing like this? As in, can somebody tell me why he's laughing this way, But then I said, let me give it a chance. We started as friends, and they say the rest is history. Then the quality I saw in him that made me know he's the one, and how much value has that quality brought to my marriage so far. Well, I noticed then that he was a God-fearing young man, and that was the top on my list of men, as in the person that will end up being my husband. You must love God, and that was the first thing I noticed about him. He loved God with all of his heart, and so far that is what has kept us in this marriage. That's just the truth, the challenges, the issues, it looks as if, but because he loves God, you see him praying, talking to God, studying the word, and he gets wisdom from God. In fact, our life has been a life of faith practically. And because he's the head, he is leading us, he's always in tune with God, and that has really added value to my marriage. You know, one thing I admire him for is that he's sensitive to other people's needs. You know, he's a great father. He is always available. You know, he's always available to his children, to his wife, to all my needs. He just has his way of fixing it, and I admire that so much about him. Also, his calmness. He's so calm. Even when everywhere is so chaotic, the man is so calm. I admire that about him.